Today I just wanted to make a quick video to show you how simple it is to start growing mushrooms in a day, essentially. That probably put the total at about 105. And this would take it to about $130 for all the supplies here, which is almost absolutely everything you need. This is all you need to get your grain spawn made, for sure. Once your grain spawn is made, then it can be a couple weeks or even a month before it fully colonizes. So this is the first step for sure, and then you've got a few weeks to figure out your lights, your grow chamber, whatever. But this is where you start.
More like this is the conclusion of the supplies that will be needed. Let's go back to the beginning and I'll go over what is all in this pile and where I got it from.
Not even buying stuff online, going to the store and just buying the simple supplies. You could even buy spores or liquid cultures. I walked into a mushroom farm in my local city, and minutes later walked out with two 20cc syringes that were $20 each. Normally 10cc's online is about $20 each. So you can find these guys online too and order directly from them. But I'll be testing out a couple of their strains. I went to the store, picked those up. The next thing I needed, of course, was, so this is like the seeds. So we need the soil or the substrate next. And for that, I went to Tractor Supply because it's $20 there for 50 pounds. So essentially that's the soil, that's the seeds, that's the core. You have to have those. The rest, I suppose we could call tools. So I'm going to use a multi-tool to make my jar. I just went with 16-ounce jars this time because they're shorter, they're easier to fit in a variety of pots or whatever. And they're more than enough for my grow. So we're going to fill a dozen jars and maybe some other containers. And then just some high temperature RTV. Wasn't necessarily my first choice, but it's good to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's supposed to be good to go in 90 minutes, which means you can make your jars basically while you're cooking your grains and then letting them cool. That'll be set in time. Right. So $20, $40, $60. These can be between 12 and 15, say 75, 80, $90, that's about 15. Spray bottle, very, very useful for sanitation, sterilizing with alcohol. And later on it'll be useful with water. $3 or so $93 maybe. Well, maybe like $10 or $12. If you have an old pillow around that you don't use, cut it open and you might have this already. You might already have jars if you save old jars. You might already have spray bottles. You may even have RTV. So really it's like I said, those are the core things. Once you have these things, a lot of this stuff can be whatever you want it to be. This is so much. This is 16 ounces. I would buy a smaller quantity. Oh. And these were $1 each at Walmart. I got two because of the size of the pot. So you see these jars are hopefully short enough that I can stack 2 layers of jars inside of this pot and fit all of them one time. We'll see. This was $24, but they have ones that are $8. This has a glass top. The $8 one has a steel top. This was 16 quart, so I could have gotten quart-sized jars, and I still would have been able to fit maybe 4 or 5, if not more. I might also try some plastic containers because we're not going to use a pressure cooker. So we're going to be lower temperature, which means maybe we can sterilize, pasteurize in a plastic container. And we can just do a injection port and a vent, just like we will with the jars. And maybe we'll test some gallon jugs too while we're at it. We'll see. So the first step, of course, is going to be cooking the grains. I might just go for like the full pot because it looks like I have plenty of space for a lot of volume. I think tonight I'll cook the grains, but if I'm patient enough, maybe I'll sterilize too, or pasteurize. Alright, so obviously some isopropyl alcohol or Lysol, something to sanitize. Again, we won't need that until after pasteurizing or sterilizing the jars, so still won't need that immediately for cooking the grains. So I'm moving everything away that I don't need for cooking the grains.
And that's a good place to wrap this up for now. Cooking the grains will be a separate episode at a later date.
It's that simple.